What's up, nerds? Welcome back to Real Reserve, where we talk about all things related to movies and physical media. In today's video, I think we've got a pretty interesting concept for you. If you could only keep 10 movies out of your collection, which ones would it be? I've gone through my shelves and selected the 10 movies that would be on that list for me. Make sure you watch to the end of the video to see the movies that didn't quite make the cut. But before we get started, here's a brief update on the channel. At the time of recording this video, we're currently sitting at 109 subscribers. In the past 2 months, I think the growth that we've seen on the channel is absolutely incredible. My recent video on why I choose to collect DVD here is sitting just under 2,000 views. Who would have ever thought that a video based off of a format that's widely considered to be obsolete would be so popular? Thanks so much to everyone that's supporting the channel. Let's keep pushing to 200 subscribers as we continue to grow this awesome community. With all of that out of the way, grab yourself a coffee and let's get into it. This is a pretty difficult list to put together. I went back and forth on whether or not to include silver movies, but this is the list that I put together in no particular order. First up, we've got the OG Jaws. It goes without saying that the original Jaws is an incredible shark movie. After going back and watching this on the higher resolution of a Blu-ray, this movie still holds up incredibly well. In addition to this being directed by the legendary Steven Spielberg, what makes this movie so great in my opinion is the practical effects that were used to create the shark. Even though this is from 1975, I still think that this is the best and most realistic looking shark that we've ever seen. They were way behind schedule and over budget due to the issues with the animatronics of the shark in this, and it's crazy to think that this one almost didn't get finished. I was probably 7 or 8 years old whenever I saw this for the first time, and I'll be honest with you, this made me afraid of getting in the bathtub or any type of body of water for several years afterwards. Don't laugh at me about that, because if you saw this movie at a young age, it probably did the same thing to you. And because of the awesome cinematography of Steven Spielberg and the incredible practical effects used to create the shark, if I could only ever watch one shark movie, it would be this one. Next up, we've got The Godfather. I promise I'm not trying to cheat and put an entire collection in here. I'm primarily talking about the first Godfather movie. Released in 1972, I think that The Godfather is the best mob movie that's ever been created, and also one of the best movies in general of all time. Again, I saw this one at a relatively young age, and the incredible performances in here from Marlon Brando, James Caan, and Al Pacino left a lasting impression on me. The Godfather was the second time that I got to see Al Pacino on screen, and after that, I was pretty much hooked. Embarrassingly enough, this is the only movie that I've ever seen starring Marlon Brando, but to be completely honest with you, I don't think there's any topping this, so I'm okay if I don't see any more of his work. If you agree that The Godfather is one of the best movies ever made, let me know that down in the comments below. If you think I'm absolutely out of my mind and off my rocker, feel free to say that as well. Before I show this next one, remember, this is my list and not yours, so don't start typing in the comments whenever I hold this movie up. So next up, we've got Terrifier 3. I know we're gonna have some people that are fuming as I put this on the list because hating the Terrifier series has started to become a popular, unpopular opinion, but hear me out. Of course, this is the most polished movie in the series because of the larger budget that they had to work with, but in my opinion, Terrifier 3 really helped to bring back and revitalize the slasher genre. I think that what Damien Leone has done with this series has created a lasting villain that we're going to look back on in a similar fashion to Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and Michael Myers. Actually think about it. In the last 10 or 15 years, name one slasher villain that has reached anywhere close to this level of popularity or cultural significance. Of course, the Terrifier series isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but with this franchise, I feel that we really get what we ask for. If you want to see a ton of incredibly gory and creative kill scenes, this is where you need to go for it. Moving on, we've got yet another mob movie, and that is Donnie Brasco. I watched this movie several times on cable TV as a teenager, and funny enough, I actually didn't know the name of it. It wasn't until a couple of years later that I learned that this was actually Donnie Brasco, and I was able to seek it out. This one has what I would consider to be an all-star cast and immaculate performances from both Al Pacino and Johnny Depp. I love the character building throughout this one between Al Pacino and Johnny Depp, and how we get to watch their relationship evolve as they become more and more like actual friends. Similar to the other films in this list, I watch this one multiple times a year, and it never disappoints. If you haven't seen Donnie Brasco, what are you doing? Next up, we've got Tombstone. For years and years, I heard online and from people that I knew about how good this movie was, and I had never seen it.
And he said, lock 'em up.
Oh man.
Lock 'em up.
I picked this up on Blu-ray for the first time a couple years ago, and I was blown away. Although he had a great performance here, I'm not that big of a fan of Kurt Russell. And I think that the masterpiece within this movie is Val Kilmer's portrayal as Doc Holliday. His accent, his mannerisms, and all those iconic lines are absolutely incredible. In my opinion, Tombstone is the best Western that's ever been made, and if I want to watch that type of movie, this is it. Next up, we've got Scarface. Like I said in one of my first videos, this was actually the first ever serious movie that I ever saw as a kid. When I was 6 or 7, my grandmother actually rented me this movie on VHS, and after that point, Disney movies were pretty much out. Put it this way, I was so young whenever I saw this movie for the first time that whenever Rabanga gets stabbed in the opening of the movie, it scared the absolute hell out of me. But I didn't let that stop me. I ended up watching that VHS tape several times before it had to be returned. Again, like I mentioned before, this was the first time that I ever saw Al Pacino on screen. I was blown away by his performance of Tony Montana, and that's something that has stuck with me for years and years. So anytime there's a movie that has Al Pacino in it that I haven't seen, I'm gonna watch it. I know I said that the original Godfather was the best mob movie ever made, but in my opinion, this will be a very close second. Next up, we've got another slasher from 1978. You'll recognize this one, the original Halloween. I saw the Rob Zombie remakes in theaters whenever I was a kid, and that was actually my first introduction into the Halloween franchise. It wasn't until years later that I went back and watched the source material. I have seen Halloween 1978 more times than I can count or that I would care to admit. Without fail, every single time my girlfriend and I are trying to figure out the movie to watch for the night, I always ask, do you want to watch Halloween? Most of the time she says no, but if I keep asking, she's bound to say yes at some point. And you never know, we just might end up watching this one tonight. Next up, the only comedy on this list, Dumb and Dumber. Can we please get a 4K release of this one so I can upgrade this crummy DVD copy? Dumb and Dumber is by far my favorite performance from Jim Carrey. I would put this one over The Mask, Liar Liar, Ace Ventura, any day of the week. We had this on VHS tape whenever I was a kid, and every single time we spent the night at my grandmother's house, this is the movie that we watched. She got so tired of watching this movie that she told me that the tape wore out, when in actuality, she just threw it away. She probably dealt with my brother and I obnoxiously quoting this movie at least 100 times, if not more. So at some point in the future, if someone asks you if you want to hear the most annoying noise in the world, tell them no. Next up, you could have guessed it, from 2007, we've got No Country for Old Men. I have seen this one a collective of 25 times, if not more, and to be honest, it gets better every time I watch it. Javier Bardem's portrayal of Anton in this film is one of the best performances I've ever seen. His character is intelligent, calculated, and completely undeniable. I've seen several TikToks that show specific scenes of this movie alongside what was actually scripted, and it just goes to show how much Javier personally added to this character by choosing to go off script. All in all, No Country for Old Men is an absolute banger in my book, and I'll never turn down the chance to watch it. In case you can't tell, I really like mob movies, so to round out the trifecta of the greatest mob movies ever made, we've got Goodfellas. The first Martin Scorsese movie that I was ever introduced to, with incredible performances from Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, and Ray Liotta. It's movies like Goodfellas, Godfather, and Scarface that really set the template of what a good mob movie is supposed to be. Again, I watched this one for the first time on cable TV whenever I was a kid, and after that, I watched it every time it came on. It's the characters and incredible storytelling of Martin Scorsese that put this one on this list. How many times have you seen Goodfellas? Don't be embarrassed, put that down in the comments. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I've got a few honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut. First up, from Christopher Nolan, we've got The Dark Knight. In my mind, this is undeniably the best Batman movie that's ever been made. You've got the best portrayal of Batman by Christian Bale and the best portrayal of the Joker by Heath Ledger wrapped together in one film. I end up comparing every new Batman movie that comes out to this one, and in my opinion, none of them come close. The incredible performances, sound design, and cinematography of Christopher Nolan make this one a masterpiece. Don't try to lie and tell me that Michael Keaton is the best Batman. He's not, it's Christian Bale. The next honorable mention is Sam Mendes's 1917. Not only is this movie intense and beautifully shot, I think that the no visible cut approach is pretty cool. This is probably my favorite war film of all time, but unfortunately, it didn't quite make the cut in this one. The last honorable mention is going to be none other than the original Rocky. I hadn't seen this one in a while, so I went back and watched it a couple of weeks ago, and in my mind, this is a perfect movie. This is storytelling at its finest with incredible performances for both Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers. Similar to Goodfellas and The Godfather and Scarface, I think Rocky really sets the blueprint of the underdog story. You really can't go wrong with any of the movies in the Rocky franchise, but Rocky 1 just happens to be my favorite. Now you've seen the movies that I would choose if I could only keep 10, but what would those 10 be for you? Let me know that down in the comments below. As always, if you made it to this point in the video, thanks so much for watching. Do all the things, like, share, and subscribe. If you think this video sucked, feel free to put that down in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.